We are live, Scott. I was looking at my picture of myself in my little thing. We're both doing it now. I got started because your cousin,
Yeah.
cousin, I felt like needed the feedback of seeing me
Oh yeah.
when we were introducing ourselves,
Yeah.
and I figured, well, might as well continue with it. People, probably everybody likes to see a little
A little
who's
Goodson.
talking to them. It's
Well,
like
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm doing it. I'm looking for your latest what did you call this one, Ellis?
it's called Thanksgiving. It is. It's kind of a Yoda approach to Thanksgiving.
I'm fine. I always watch the live stream
Oh,
on the oh, here we go. The
Roku,
live.
Roku.
Yeah, well I got a TV mount on the wall in front of me. There it is. There it is. Oh, you can kind of see me. Let's see. Let me
Yeah,
move
not
it up
much.
just a hair.
Just the top of your head, your head.
There. I don't know if that's any better.
Not really. You got to play with
There.
the.
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
We'll do that. The problem is my mirror. I don't have quite the good mirror setup that you do. My mirror is kind of propped up against this thing.
Here's my
Uh,
mirror setup.
as
See how it's built?
yeah,
Got a stiff little
I
wire kind of thing in my jig on it.
I asked my wife. I go, "Do you have one of those mirrors that you sit on the counter?" And
And do your makeup with that.
she said no. I said maybe I should have thought of this more than 15 minutes before the show
Yeah.
started. Oh well, it'll be fine. Uh, anyway, so it is Thanksgiving, like you said, and
Hmm.
I'm assuming you did nothing different than you would do any other day.
I did even less than I do any other day. I didn't even go for the walk.
Oh, you
It was
didn't because
yeah,
of
it
the
was yeah, it was
cold.
something like no. The cold didn't bother me. I just didn't want to get out there with it. Basically knowing that I couldn't go to the grocery store or anything like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Even though I could have, they actually they leave that crest open even on almost all holidays.
yeah.
There's Dan saying, "Hey guys, happy
Hey
Thanksgiving."
Dan, happy Thanksgiving, Dan. Yeah, it's kind of a weird. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, but it is kind of
Hmm.
weird because everything's closed. But it's funny. I'm kind of the opinion that once in a while, if you're prepared for it. Now, if you have an emergency, it sucks.
Hmm.
But if you're prepared for it, once in a while, it's good just to not be able to be like, I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
have to be able to stay inside or whatever. You know.
Consume what you already got inside the house instead of
Yeah,
going out and doing some fresh consuming.
buying more. Yeah. So in that spirit,
And then
I
your
just
Black Friday comes along and ruins
it,
all
it,
that Zen attitude. Yep.
yeah. Well, today I read a Shadow Pulp.
I saw you post your cover. I forget where I
Uh,
saw it. Probably
oh
Instagram.
yeah, yeah. I think I posted on Instagram. Yep. Michelle, I'm gonna say Michelle and I, but she did most of the work. But Michelle is very particular about our tree, so she put the Christmas tree up today,
Hmm.
and in what we call the library, which is kind of the den, basically. And if normal people had my house, it'd be the den. And so she put the tree up, and I helped her a little bit, mostly by cleaning the den so she could.
Uh-huh.
And then I watched. What did I watch? I watched. We stream every Thursday, man. the I watched the I watched a movie called Double Trouble, I think it was, and it had Jane Russell, Frank Sinatra, and Groucho Marx.
Double trouble, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
So
you know what?
it wasn't the Bob Hope one that Jane Russell
No,
did.
no. It had, yeah, it was pretty good. I got it from the library. I got it from the downtown library, as a matter of fact.
Jane Russell.
You may have been with me. Were you with me? I don't think you were last time I went down there. But
No, probably not.
it Frank Sinatra worked at a bank, and Frank Sinatra and Jane Russell worked at a bank, and they were engaged, but he wouldn't marry her until he saved up enough money to get a bigger apartment or something like that, a ring, all the various things that people think they need to get when they get married. And he ended up saving a gangster who gave him $1,000, and then the guy told him, no, don't take my $1,000. I'll put it on this horse for you. I got this sure thing. And through the course of that, he ended up winning like $50,000. In the meantime, the bank they worked at has, while he's at lunch, this is always at lunch, the bank, they discover they're short, their registers or their account is short $75,000. So they immediately assume that he has absconded with the money, and he's trying to not, and it's and there's a guy that's after Jane Russell, wants her to, and anyway, it's kind of a little slapsticky thing, but it was pretty good because, like I said, it had Frank Sinatra. And
it involved gangsters. That's cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Frank liked the fact that he was running with gangsters. He's just Italian enough that it's like, hey, these are the cool. Now that's weird. I told you about the guy that was a rigger. That absolutely he was one of these guys that, like you just mentioned, the worst monster on earth. It's like acting like some Jewish. Well, of course, Mel Brooks could have fun with Hitler, but
yeah.
But acting like any Jewish guy could ever think the Holocaust was a laugh,
Oh yeah.
And this guy, man, the mafia, you could not talk to him about the Sopranos.
Oh yeah.
That anything that was anything that even partially like glamorized him, man. Whew. Hey, can I ask you about that movie? At the end of it, do they try to corner Frank and beat him up, and then a very spry dancer beats up the gangsters in the alley?
No.
Dang. I was going to say it's truly Thanksgiving because I've been trying to find that movie for years. I saw it when I was just a kid, and I think it was one of those Arkansas broadcasts where they just barely even could be said to have TV that was had so much snow in the thing.
Yeah.
And I remember that ending. All of a sudden, these guys were up against it. It was over for them. The gangsters had them cornered, and the stage door opens, and it's just this guy. It's just this little reedy dancer coming out for a smoke or whatever he was out there for. And it was, God, the movie may date to the 50s, so they weren't saying out and out he was gay, but by his mannerisms you could tell it was just, it just hit him on the feminine side, all the danger they were in. Yeah. But it didn't matter because they catalyzed him when they actually came at him, and all of a sudden he was just a whirling dervish of kicks and acrobatic ballet moves that just put him down.
Oh yeah.
And I've always wanted to see that movie because all I remember is that ending. And it's like
Frank Sinatra in it.
I don't know, but anything that came out with gangsters, that could have been Bob Hope. Yeah. I've made many a dive into Internet Movie Database trying to find a. It could have been Danny Kaye, but I looked at a lot of Danny Kaye movies. None of them sound likely.
Yeah, I don't. It wasn't this one.
No, wasn't that one, huh? Dang, I was just hoping. I said, nope. This is it. This is it. Scott is going to deliver it.
Ended. My quest is over. No, sorry. The quest goes on.
Yep.
Anyway, so I watched that. Last night I watched. God, what was the name of it? The most dangerous game with Fay Ray.
Ooh, that's a good one with all those King Kong locales still intact. Or I'm not sure, they may have made that one first.
I think they made that one first actually.
Yep,
yes. Yep, it was before King Kong, and it had the sets, and that was pretty good.
All the matte paintings.
And then I watched the original Lady Killers
Oh yeah, with Alec Guinness.
with Alec Guinness. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a funny movie. Very
Yes.
well done.
Much better than the other one.
Yeah, which it's still the Coen brothers. They still know what they're up to, and they're good at gags. But
Yeah.
every now and then they revert back to their kid days when they weren't going to be any more serious than Sam Raimi frozen in time with Evil Dead, basically. And
Yeah.
they were just going to have fun making movies, and that's what their Lady Killers is. They kind of
Yeah.
reverted to being their
Yeah.
kid selves again.
Yeah. It's not a. Yeah. But I think I prefer the original.
Oh yeah, yeah, the one with that big old gangster that once he realizes they really do mean to do away with the old lady.
It's like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna do it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna do it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does
So
he actually kills Peter Sellers, doesn't he, the big guy, or not? I forget.
I don't know. Yeah, I think he
I
does.
yeah, I can't remember who does in Peter Sellers, but that's what's so funny.
Yeah,
They all.
no,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, no one wants to kill her, and they
Yeah,
think they need to.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a good movie. So between those three, I've watched most of my library DVDs, which is amazing. I still have to watch The Right Stuff. I've had The Right Stuff checked out for a
Couple of
while.
weeks.
Yeah, several weeks. It's been renewed once or twice, but it's 3 hours, man. I can't make myself watch a 3 hour movie, Ellis.
Well, mentally, you just have to dip your toe in it because it won't feel like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's probably true once I get into it. But anyway, I watched that. I drew some. And then I read that Shadow book. I'd started it. I didn't read all of it today, but boy, I read quite a bit of it. Man,
I've actually read a few chapters of Mario's book. I think it's
oh yeah,
a very fun little book. Yeah.
it is. It is. It's interesting. His take on some stuff is interesting.
Hmm.
It's funny. He didn't write. It's not a high fantasy. I mean, we talked about it on the podcast, Dave and I forget what I called it. I think I may have called it like a low fantasy, but it's not. I mean, there's magical things in it, but it's not elves and fairies.
No, no.
It's very down to earth.
It's like, is she crazy or not for thinking she's got
Yeah,
a pig divinity in her or not? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, there was something I was just desperate to think of one time when you told me the first time you told me the title of Mario's book, which is
Goddess of Pigland.
Goddess of Pigland, and I tried to come up with a title that this guy named John Schoenhauer, who did the cover of Dunes. You remember that conversation we had? The guy that I was talking about, the artist that did the original Dune paperback covers. Well,
Oh yes.
He did this book called The Man from Pig,
Oh,
P, and it called itself P period I period G
oh yeah,
period.
like the intelligence agency or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, and it's just all about this guy that is sent around to investigate the situation on miscellaneous planet outposts. And it
Oh,
sounds very, very juvenile, but it's actually, I think it's done. I think it was one of the author Harry Harrison's
oh,
book.
okay.
So it's very well written. But the illustrations go on the inside too. And I've got a copy of it. I need to show it to you sometime, but I could pop up and go get it.
You could do it now.
I could do it now. Why don't you, since I can't change rooms and talk about stuff you've done recently? I'll be right back.
What have I done recently? What have I done recently? Oh, recently I haven't done much. I've been drawing. I finished chapter 5, I think, of Black Cricket last week, maybe, and and I'm enjoying the break until Dan gets me chapter 6. I should be working on lettering, but I'm not working on lettering. Sorry, Dan. I will soon. I've been busy with house stuff and drawing, reading. I've been reading. I bought almost all the shadow pulps, and I have to read them all. So I have 2 read, 3 read.
And, hey, I'm back. Go ahead. Okay. Continue your thought, though.
Oh, I was just saying that I've read. Legal. I should not do. Well.
And then he asks, lettering, Black Cricket. Chapter 6 has been a tough nut to crack, but I finally got the handle on it. Great. You got your way in as a writer on what you were hoping to do on Black Cricket.
Ellis? Ellis? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
I dropped out for a second. I was moving my camera and I hit the. Dan asked if I was lettering the Black Cricket, and I have not been. I will be, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get done.
It'll get done.
This is a book that I saw at that formative period when I was seeing Frazetta covers on paperback racks and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I was always blown away by this Roger Zelazny, the Immortal. And I've got things in mirror mode, so people are seeing it backwards. But this character, this mystical-looking little character, was surrounded by that giant thing there. And I finally got around to reading it instead of just looking at the cover for ages.
I
will be saving the second opening, which brings back our Gold Digger character and introduces Emily's lab assistant.
Oh, nice.
And while it was good character moments, it was all talk. We needed action. Yeah.
We did need action. We need lots
and
of
here action. Is the man from Pig. And I'll show a few of his line drawings from the inside. I'll show the one that really excited my brain when I saw it as a kid. They're just typical line drawings and maybe nothing particularly special about them. See, this guy's got this empathy with basically a couple of big, huge warthogs, and it's copyright 1967, and so it's way back then. But for some reason, I thought that was the greatest concept, being in touch with mentally with a couple of pigs that were just ungodly big. And you can see here's the action scene of these pigs attacking. You probably can't make it out. It's one of those things where he's really, as big a master as he is of everything, he doesn't have a great silhouette there. You can see this large.
Well, it doesn't help that it's a spread across the center.
Yeah, center spread. But you can see the pig's legs here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Diving in, and they're basically tearing apart a mechanism.
Oh, yeah, some sort of machinery.
But yeah, I got to that center spread, and I saw this one pig snout, just ripping crap up, and I thought, wow, dang. It's one of those things that you don't realize it, but you're just the right age to be super. And there's a cool dynamic thing of a critter leaping at a guy with his big feet ready to stomp him. So anyway, yeah, that's that guy. Schoenhauer. Cover art and illustration for this edition by John Schoenhauer. Her, Herr at the very end. Schoenhauer.
I have several Harry Harrison books.
Yeah, he's the stainless steel rat, right?
Yes, I have the. When I was a kid, I picked up it was like the first 3 or 4 stainless steel rats, like an omnibus. I've got it over there somewhere. I have the.
Dan says that's a book you could go hog wild over. Yep, you're right.
I have a book of of his. I have the Death World trilogy, and I have Planet of the Damned. That's the one of his I want to read. Supposedly that inspired was one of the inspirations for Escape from New York.
I'll be.
I guess a guy is
Like I say, when
obtained
you yeah, go ahead.
some planet that is reminiscent of what was going on in Escape from New York. I'm sorry, when you do what, Ellis?
Well, yeah, when you talk about guys like Harry Harrison, obviously, anytime a name is passed around enough to where you know it, that's one of those guarantees that when you get into it, you'll discover, hey, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
yeah.
good writing.
Yeah.
But of course, that's the deal. Sometimes some of that is gatekeeping that occurs where someone's
Yeah.
not given the chance to be exposed. But most of the time, it's like almost all these writers will give you a big snootful of saying, no, if you're a writer, you're just going to be writing. You don't have to worry about any sort of
Yeah.
trick to becoming a writer. You have to write.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure a lot of people hate to hear that, but it's probably right. You know,
Well, it's
and then the success will just finally comes to you, or it doesn't. And then everybody discovers your work after you're dead, like the Confederacy of Dunce's guy.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's part of it's not. I don't think it's gatekeeping. I think there is some of that in all entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Gatekeeping goes on, but part of it is just the luck of the right person see it. I mean, you can have all the talent in the world, but if a person that has the ability and the opportunity to hire you doesn't see it or pay you or whatever doesn't see it, then it ain't gonna help you. In terms
Well.
of getting recognized. But
Mm-hmm.
I, yeah.
Well, I saw two things today that were on the same topic there of nobody can help you in Hollywood was one of them, and then the other one was Letterman has a podcast he does with his sister and his mother.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's actually a very funny little podcast because he's just reminiscing about everything. He'll have people on just very casually sitting in the kitchen furniture, and they'll just be talking about old times and stuff. And the one about nobody can help you in Hollywood makes the declaration that everybody in Hollywood is actually, you think of them as very mean and all that, but actually they're afraid that you might become somebody, so they're on their best behavior so they don't insult you if you do go places. And that way you get an unrealistic notion of how good you might be, when you're auditioning or dropping
Oh
a script
yeah.
or dropping a script off or whatever. They want everybody feeling like nobody slighted them or whatever. And Letterman had that this exact same day while I was watching YouTube. He had a story about the time he was on a Mork and Mindy. And he if he could go back, he would beg the people that put him on the show to just tell him he sucked and to fire him because they kept stringing him along and got him on the show eventually. But like he says, he hates to even look at it, because he's not himself. He's trying to do something he can't do, and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
There is something to be said for that.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I yeah. It's hard. I mean, you can think about that so many different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's in most entertainment fields, even though there's not a lot of opportunities, they're looking for talent.
Oh
You
God,
know.
they need it. Look, when you look at a Tubi and you realize, my God, they're just cranking this crap out. It doesn't matter if anybody's watching it or not. You know, it's like
Yeah.
no, they are compelled. They see. I don't know. I guess part of the deal is it's kind of like once you get the money for it, once you got the budget, and you're making the thing, everybody's got to spend that money. You gotta go ahead and keep the presses roll. Keep them cranking.
You gotta. Yeah, once you get investors and you get something has to be done. I'm thinking.
I agree. Success is timing, and also finding someone who recognizes your talent.
Yeah. Yep. And thinks they can monetize it. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
people will help you if they don't think you're gonna make them money. I think about this in terms of that technotainment stuff I'm working on. That guy.
How's that going?
Oh my gosh, man! I mean, I'm supposed to meet tomorrow with some people on the phone. They're doing their phone meeting about our thing. Our thing is that Channel 1, and
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out and said, hey, I know I'm not one of the people that need to be on this phone conversation, but can I be?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh yeah, we'd love to have you on this. It's just like, oh God, so these people want me involved in as much as possible. And the guy
really
that I'm
cool.
working with, I hate to sound big headed, but I think he thinks he's over his head a little bit. The direct guy I'm working with, not the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like wanting me to be in some of these. He said, hey, if you go to that phone meeting, let me know give me a summary, which is funny because I have to do that for my boss a lot at work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, yeah, I'll go, and I can definitely give you a summary of how, what the deal is. But I'm interested in it because that's where I'm probably going to, if this goes well, that'll be, and today they sent out an email introducing the team for Channel 1, and I was credited as director producer.
Wow.
I know.
Wow, producer credit. Now you just go straight to saying you're a producer. You guys have heard the story about John W. Campbell, the sci-fi editor and author of Who Goes There.
Yeah. Astounding.
Brilliant editor, but a bit of a hard ass, very hard to impress. Story goes, one writer in particular ticked him off by sending him story after story. Guy sent him like 4 or 5 stories at a time, and all had to be read. And Campbell hated his work. Okay, go ahead now. The Paul Harvey ending. Tell me it was Ray Bradbury. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I have to wait for Dan Lowe to catch up with his typing. I don't know.
I
don't know if that's the ending, but I'm assuming it is. I don't know.
You think it's Ray? I don't know if Ray Bradbury.
I don't know if it's who
Campbell
it is, though.
Was the editor of Astounding.
Wait a second. Here's the ending. Finally, Campbell sent him a letter and told him to stop sending him stories. Wait a second. It still could have the ending.
Does it have a good ending?
I don't know. Hey, Dan, tell us the ending.
Dan.
Or was that the ending? Tell me.
Was the ending. Campbell said, I'm blocking all your emails.
Quit bothering me.
Quit bothering me, boy. Dan's leaving us in.
Wait a second. Which he did. And yes, it was indeed Bradbury.
Oh, it was.
So he just quit knocking on Campbell's door, huh? Okay.
He didn't quit.
He did. He quit. He quit knocking on Campbell's door.
He quit Campbell, but he didn't quit writing.
No, he didn't quit writing. No.
He quit knocking. He quit bothering. Well, and that's the thing is like, not everybody is for everybody.
That's right. Yeah. I can see someone saying this is science fiction and handing you something with the tone of a Bradbury story, and him go, what?
Yeah.
What? This has got carnivals in it, and
I get it.
And a freak show.
Mars, but what's?
Yeah. They're on Mars, but they're
but we're the Martians. What's going on here?
Yeah. I always tell this story to young writers. Maybe Dan is who I heard it from the first time. I don't know. And I had my Alzheimer's working on it. I always tell the story to young writers as an example that you can't please every reader or every editor. Yeah, that's true.
No, that's true. And you got to find I always say you have to find a champion.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find, and that's going to take entertainment. Maybe the guy thinks I'm, brilliant, so maybe he's my champion.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I say, your credit being. Anytime you scratch producer, you're being considered like one of the crowd, basically. Yeah. I would think.
well, yeah. I mean, not that I got a card for it or anything, but I mean, it's just cool to be. I mean, this is, this guy thinks I'm, whatever. And I
Mhm.
mean, you know, even if this never makes me a dime, just the association I think is cool. Just the fact that it's like, well, it could happen.
It brought you along. There's that thing that gets watered in the brain of I know what can be done here, and by golly, I could do it too, or whatever. You get exposed to somebody like Doug is back. Doug has made his way back to YouTube after that long drought of them kicking him off. I guess now that the election's over, he's been back almost a month, and I was unaware of it. But he's
How
just
did he?
called Doug. He's just called Doug to Naples now, even though he always introduced him. That is a cool credit, Scott. Congrats, says Dan. And
It
Dan,
is. It really is.
yeah,
Yes.
but Doug is back, and he still calls himself Doug in Exile.
Oh, nice.
But he's back. But now he's got 56,000 subscribers
Oh,
when he
yeah. What do
had
you?
560,000 subscribers, if I remember right. So basically, they just cut all kinds of his
Yeah. They.
monetization out from under him. But 56,000 isn't a bad place to
No,
be
man.
working up from after a
No.
month.
No. He's gonna be fine. I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he's just so
He's
determined. I mean,
fine. Yeah.
and his, oh yeah, and their production values has. Doug is one of these guys that if you're going to learn something from Doug is like realize what a small little packet of what Doug does really well, and it's primarily involving character design and imagination. Beyond that, Doug is like he likes to call himself. I'm a retarded artist. He'll call himself that often with regard to then laying on his wisdom about politics to you. So I'm just this,
Oh
but
yeah.
these guys can't figure it out.
Yep.
And
I know this, and I'm a retarded. Yeah.
yeah, that's how he introduces. But he means that in terms of like understanding his own limitations. When you understand that you're limited, that means you have to go out and find someone that does know what they're doing. If you're
Yeah.
wanting to hang on to your money, you go out and try to find somebody that can help you hang on to your money and that you
Yep.
trust. That's the important part. You got to find
Yep.
somebody you trust. And
If you
all these
can.
important things in life, you can go out and you can farm all these things out. You can stay focused,
Yeah.
but you got to find expertise in what you want in life. That is a cool. Yeah, oh, he already said that, or I already.
Found my morpho
But
book.
I don't do it enough. Obviously, I ought to be consulting all the time with people about this or that.
Found my morpho book. I was looking for this the other day.
Oh yeah, that was really simplified poses. That sounds like
Yeah.
a
Morpho
get right to
simplified
it.
forms.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's got the deal where you can open it. I was looking at another anatomy book, and then they were touting the fact they had it like this, so you could open it flat
Hmm.
and read it. Yeah, this is a good book.
Oh,
I
very
should
good.
be I should be copying this more. I've been watching
Yeah,
a lot of Ron Lemon stuff.
yeah. He's the king of instructors that with a heart that cares. Yeah, he really wants you to know what's in his head. He's a
Oh
he's a
yeah,
good teacher.
yeah. I like his videos are great. I mean, for like free YouTube stuff, it's crazy.
Yeah,
You know,
high
I
value, high value. Well, and of course you see success like Proco. Proco is just shoveling money into
oh yeah,
into the bank. And you look at it, and it's like, the little whistling theme starts you up, and you go, "Oh, this is quaint," and all that. And you realize, my God, this guy's like PewDiePie when you look at his numbers. It's like,
Yeah.
this guy's
Yeah, and
making.
he's good, but he's not. I wouldn't call him. I mean, I think Ron Lemon's a better
He's
teacher.
one of these guys with a huge network. He's a guy that knows Ron Lemon. Believe me,
Oh yeah, he knows everybody.
he knows everybody that ever crossed paths with Jeff Watts, and that's a lot. Hey guys, I am going to call it a night,
Okay,
says
Dan.
Dan. Have a great
Dan, thanks
evening
for
and a
dropping
good,
in.
yeah, good rest
What'd
of
you
the
say?
holiday weekend. Have a good evening, good rest of the holiday weekend. Yeah, I guess that is true. I mean, do you think we get mail tomorrow or not?
Yeah, we should. I mean,
Okay.
the yeah, I know we do because I'm getting a shadow book in the mail. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Mario
I
sent
have.
me a package, and I guess,
Oh,
and
he
he's made it to where I have to sign for it. So
Oh, he
I've got
has.
I've got to
So
either
you got it.
I may end up going to the post office for it.
Yeah, they'll hold if they can't. If you're not there, they'll hold it.
Hmm.
I got one of those from the IRS one time. So yeah,
Oh yeah. They send
yeah.
you,
I didn't want
make you
that one.
work for their bad news.
Yeah, I didn't know who it was from until I went
Hmm.
and got it. It's like, oh, I don't want this. And they're
Yeah,
like,
you can keep
nope,
this.
you got it now, buddy. It's all you,
Talk to you
cowboy.
soon.
Okay, yeah, Dan, if you listen to this, we should talk sometime soon. Let me know if you have any time sometime. I have no time. I don't know what I'm saying. Somebody asked me, what are you up to? And I'm like, I can't, you know.
Couldn't even tell you.
Well, at Thanksgiving, my nephew was just asking me what I was working on, and I didn't even want to go into all the technotainment thing because it's so. I just get tired of telling people, and they go, "Yeah, you know."
They want you to put some brackets around it, yeah, so they can
Well,
tell what you're up to.
it's just like if I tell them the story as it happened, no one, everybody's like, They either go, "That's a scam," or they chide me for not getting a paycheck, and I'm like, well, it's.
Hmm.
I mean, I think if I didn't think the money was coming, it's not just. I mean, it's not that. This is not a freelance job they're working on. The idea is we're going to build something and all have jobs. You
Hmm.
know, maybe.
Yeah, it should be a humongous
I
endeavor.
mean,
Yeah.
if it pans out. I mean, that's the thing. If it pans out, I'll be well off.
Hmm.
I'll do okay. I mean, I don't think the guy's going to hose me. He doesn't. He needs me. I mean,
Hmm.
I guess. Uh, and so if it pans out, then I'll get money. If it doesn't pan out, then nobody will get money.
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, if there's money to be made, but it's kind of like if you do a book and it doesn't sell, well, how much do you deserve? You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah, it's like I've got this DL and Odious thing, that I worked on for practically, God, you could even say I worked on it for 3 years. I don't know, in
oh
terms of
yeah.
like pointing at the origin of the thing and all that. But I haven't, I've offered it as a PDF, and that's it thus far. I need to take the next step, and I've got it halfway bundled up for a Kablam comic book, and that's the way to sell it. Or the PDF for the Amazon. And until I do that, I can't complain about not making any money on that thing because I haven't presented the package that makes money yet,
Oh yeah.
even if it's only $20. It just hasn't been properly bundled. Nobody buys PDFs except me, I guess. I
Well, I
buy I
think.
buy I buy Hoffman's Mike Hoffman's PDFs all the time.
Oh yeah. I bought a few PDFs, but not very many because I'd rather have it in print.
Have a book.
Rather have a book. I don't have DL and Odious. If you print it, I'll buy it.
Yeah, yeah, and I want it to look good too. I want it to look decent. I told Mario that he's already got more designer licks than I do in terms of like how he formatted.
Oh, Goddess of Pigland.
Goddess of Pigland. Because there's a couple things that kind of escaped me on formatting when I did my little paperback. I just had to cram it in, make it fit.
Oh yeah, yeah, but your sketchbooks look good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are kind of.
It's funny you say that. I'm on this shadow kick.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I've talked about 10 times already tonight, and I've got the reprints of all. I'm missing like 8 of them, and I'm gonna get them from the guy. We're kind of working on that through that process, but there have been some other reprints that have come out. Dover Books, believe it or not, of all people, did a reprint in the 80s of two of them, and I had seen them. I saw them at the bookstore in Tulsa, but I didn't buy them because I didn't know what it was, and I knew it wasn't part of the series that I was getting, and it was before I decided I'd get them all, so I passed on it, and they went $20 for it. Well, cover price is $3. I found a comic shop that has them, so got them. They're coming to me. I'm supposed to have them tomorrow, actually. And then there was a hardcover reprint of the 2 Sherwood Kahn. Sherwood Kahn is like his nemesis, one of his main nemesises. Appeared in 4 of the stories. Well, they did a Mysterious Press in the 80s, did a hardcover reprint of 4 of them, and I got that coming to me. Found a decent copy of that for a reasonable price. That's coming to me, I don't know when, sometime. I think next week sometime. But meantime, I found PDFs of all 4 of the Sherwin Kahn stories. I was thinking, I could do a little Lulu book. I mean, I've got all the text.
Is it public domain?
It is not public domain, but if I don't put it out for sale, they won't bust me.
Oh, that's true. I've gotten away with making my own little archival book of my own sketches
So I'm thinking about doing that, but the idea of sitting down and actually doing it it's like because I want to do it.
Takes minutes. That's right.
Yeah, because I don't want to do it. I want it to be nice,
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, boy, it'd be great to have all those. And then if I wanted to take them with me, I could read them and I wouldn't have to drag out my. Now that I've got the collection, I'm loath to, take one with me, say on vacation or something,
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. I used to think of I was going to do just 1 million of those Hulu books, just like that. I was going to take, like just example artist. It'd be like, hey, do your own. Since I'm always right-click saving stuff, there's 1 million things I could turn into little PDFs that could be, like you say, my own little stealth anthologies of nice art books.
Yeah, you could do your own sketchbooks of an artist if you had enough good images.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've got, and then you could do all kinds of treatments to those images, of course, too. I mean, you could.
You could.
You could be the filter on the great black and white Rosetta book you wanted to produce just for quick reference,
Yeah.
Even though
a Kirby book or something, or you really, I didn't think about this till now, but you could even take an artist, say like, we'll say like Gil Kane. Say you dig Gil Kane, you could take a bunch of Gil Kane stuff and make it black and white, and maybe selectively crop it and call it like an anatomy study of Gil Kane. This is how.
You saying that, you have got a huge wealth. I won't say who it is, but you've got a big book. You shared to me. Yeah, you did your own self-publishing of running the presses, but you could get yourself a nice little Hulu book. Yeah.
I want to do that. Well, yeah, I want to do a. Yeah, I want to do that. But
But
again,
again,
I
you'd
want to
have to be
do it
trouble. You know,
right.
you can't make any money at it ever. So,
Well, and I'll say what it is. I don't care if anybody hears
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
several so John Byrne did the that else else win, which is where he basically drew those X-Men stories as like a retirement project, sold the original art, and it was never printed anywhere except on his webpage. And so I've downloaded them all, and I've
Hmm.
printed them and had them bound, coil bound. But I've thought about making a big hardcover too of them all, But God,
Hmm.
the problem is, if I did it, I'd want to do it right. I want like a nice cover. I want like a nice introduction. I mean, I've got all the files for that too. I even know, what I would use. I'd put the story on there of him talking to Marvel,
Hmm.
and how he withdrew it from consideration at Marvel, and I get the picture of him shaking hands with CB Cebulski at the Boston Con. You know.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. Something like that it's what they call potential energy, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you can't imagine it that the spring isn't going to get sprung on it, but it never. I
Yeah.
guess it's never going to.
Well, he came out and said something real cryptic on his webpage where he said, the last chapter of this hadn't. He said this may live again at some point, and so I don't know
Yeah,
if he's talking about doing more or is
it's
that
all
a
scanned. I
publishing
mean,
deal.
yeah, yeah. After he dies, 20 years later, somebody come along and ink all of it, digitally,
Yeah.
or have AI do it. Here,
Oh
AI,
gosh.
give you some.
I've seen there have been people. I'm in Facebook groups and God, there's this one guy that he's inked and lead or penciled or colored like every page, and it's terrible.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh
It's
my
like that.
gosh, I was like, good Lord, are you colorblind? I mean, you know, or are
Yeah,
you blind?
it's like the Roman coin that gets stamped through the generations of. It
Yeah.
completely loses any resemblance to
Oh
the
yeah,
original
it
the
doesn't look
original
anything like
emperor.
Byrne. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
you obliterated all of John Byrne in this,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's put so much work in these, and he puts them online. It's just like, oh my gosh, do you not see how that's how I mark that I've become a better artist in my life because I look at this stuff and I go, God, my God, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Not my, but like this guy's work, I can spot terrible when somebody else does terrible work, and I can spot it when I do it too, but it's easier and less painful when you see somebody else doing it.
What was I saying?
That's what drives me crazy at work, Ellis. I see stuff all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, I cannot, and I have to let it go. It's like I can't let it. This looks terrible, especially some of the. And I'll see it, and the customer won't like it, and I'm like, how much do I step in and say, oh my gosh, here's what you got to do to this,
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to be egotistical, but it's just,
Well, it's interesting to on YouTube you're getting all these people that talk about the collaborative process often as it relates to film, and I'm always amazed at how Eastwood, for one thing, he would never have meetings. People would have to always send him audition tapes because he just here you are thinking, oh, Eastwood's a tough guy. He's actually too weak-willed to tell anybody no. So
oh
if
really?
somebody shows up, and he's an actor himself and all that, he can't say no to them. And once they start unspooling their talent for him, and he can't do that. He's got to have the best he can get for his movies, like everybody.
Yeah.
And but this one guy that played the author that was following the guy that Richard Harris or not following Richard Harris that Gene Hackman beats up in The Unforgiven. That guy that
No.
played the
Yeah.
writer. That guy that played the writer. He was talking about his introduction to Eastwood and wondering about this or that. And Eastwood was just one of these guys that says, you're here because what you'll do is what I want. Basically, he was saying, you just, and he just almost one of these guys that would be filming you while you were rehearsing, almost.
Oh, yeah.
He gets it on there, and the actors love working with him. I tell you, it's by the time they got there on an Eastwood production, the vision was already taken care of.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
I dig that about and actors. They need to feel like somebody is absolutely the king, and because they're always going to be going to that for that source. And Eastwood apparently was a very good ruler on the set, because they knew they could talk to him about anything and would totally be trusted with whatever they got to do. But I guess anybody that was into trying to get their best foot forward could get kind of frustrated with him because you were done after 2 takes. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do that better. No, we're over here now.
Yeah, I think. Everybody's different, but yeah, I can see that some actors would be like, yeah, let me. You're only going to do. I've been reading a book about science fiction movies of the 50s, and there was one thing, and they were like, don't you want to, somebody flubbed their lines, and the guy's like, okay, that's good, and he's like, don't you want me to? Nah, we got it, we're good.
It's like Johnny Depp in that movie about Plan 9 director. What's his name?
Wood. What's his last name? Ed Wood.
Ed Wood, yeah.
Yep,
one of the actors goes, hey, the tombstone wobbled. He says, no, that was great. We got it. Nobody will notice.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. He just kept them moving.
Yeah.
I follow on the YouTube this guy called TV Crazy Man. He likes to show you bloopers and all this stuff that you may have missed. And they'll have like Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Yeah.
And he'll be on a horse and walking his horse through some little western town. And way on the left, out of your eye line, since your eye line is drawn to Carradine walking his horse, somebody's parked their car way down at the end of the on the. But it's very clearly a car.
Yeah, it's not. There is not any sort of Western contrivance. It is a car.
And I like that kind of stuff. And of course, they have power lines showing up when they're getting out there on Topanga Canyon all the time. Back where I used to live towards Simi Valley.
Yeah.
And you just can't get away with. You can only get so much of it out of frame.
Yeah.
YouTube
Ed Wood movie.
Oh, you've never seen an Ed Wood movie? Well,
no,
that's the deal. I act like I like bad movies, but I don't really. I like well-made everything, And the Ed Wood movies are just mainly bad because they're so damn boring. It's like, tell a story, man. Get with it. If he can,
unforgivable sin.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if you get boring, you're done. He's got a couple of movies where it's nothing but strippers. He had some sort of marginal, use as, basically talent. He would, because they'd get at least semi-nude for him. And all he does is have a setting where it's like a graveyard. And so there's that appeal to him of like saying, this is odd. And then he sticks these strippers in it and they gallivant around semi-nude throughout the whole, I think it's called Orgy of the Dead.
Oh, gosh.
It's got absolutely no story to it. And it's like after 10 minutes of watching these overfed strippers run around in a graveyard, you go, is this going to shape into anything?
Is there a story here? Or are we
Yeah,
just,
yeah. Or am I just supposed to be fascinated with the mammary talents?
It's like Andy Sidaris.
Yeah. I'm just supposed to sit here and look at this girl. But anyway, there's a lot of that stuff that is available out there, but you can't see it. You can't watch it. Just it's the very definition
You can
of
watch
bad.
it.
You can watch
it's
it.
Unwatchable. It's unwatchable.
Yeah. It's better to be stunned or something like that and keep you still during it. Trying to think what I was watching last night. Well, I've got two approaches to The Office. I've got rented on Canopy. I've got the BBC Office stuff, and right now I've got a DVD of season 1 of our version of The Office. I haven't loaded that up yet to watch it.
That used to be on Amazon. I watched a lot of it, and it got to a point where I got a little tired of it.
Oh, I'm sure it gets tiresome pretty quick.
But my brother loves that show.
Yeah, it's got it's. Now, which one were you watching? Which one?
The American one.
The American one, okay.
But for some reason, it seems like every time I travel to Princeton, Illinois, to our plant up there, when I go back to my hotel room, it's always playing on Comedy Central, and I'll watch it, because it's easy
good
to
writing.
watch. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I tell you, the comedy that I like, that I've got a couple seasons of, is was it 30 Rock? 30 Rock.
Oh yeah, that stuff is pretty addictive because those are great characters.
Yeah.
And the writing there, that actress's name that's so important, the lead.
Fey?
Yeah, Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Her writing technique is to be about halfway improv.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how she works out her writing.
I can see
by improv a bit.
If you're going to write, that's the way to do it. It's kind of like working the Marvel method if you're a comic writer.
Mm-hmm,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, okay, we're going to do this Marvel method, and here's your plot. The X-Men fight Magneto. I'll need your art in 30 days. Good luck.
She's got a little tribute to the idea of improv. She's got that that blonde girl who's, I guess, she'd be like a news celebrity or something like that. She's not much of a celebrity, but she's kind of a thorn in Tina Fey's side. She's an attractive woman, etc.
She's the star.
She's eye candy. Yeah. She's some sort of star like that. But she, for some reason, gets roped into doing improv with her. And this was Dan Harmon saying this was one of his absolute favorite jokes he'd ever seen, was Tina Fey and that girl doing some improv. And the suggestion from the audience came, the guy from Sling Blade and Oprah are on a date. And so Tina Fey runs with it. She goes, oh, these French fries sure are good. Oh, I sure love French fries, in the Sling Blade voice. And so the blonde goes, no, you don't, Oprah. And the fact that she was so stupid on so many levels, and just killed for one thing, in improv, you never say no. You always say yes and.
Right.
Otherwise, you kill the rhythm of everything. And so hers right away saying, no, you don't, Oprah, is like, it just got everything wrong, and you just couldn't be on stage improvising with this person.
Yes.
And that 30 Rock, that classic joke of Steve Buscemi. God, think how many times that meme has made its way into, and may make him more famous than anything he ever did.
What's the famous joke? I don't know what the.
Okay, hey, fellow kids.
Oh, that's from
yeah,
30 Rock.
that's from 30 Rock.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I've
It's
seen
some.
that. I had no idea what that was from. Where he's
Hi,
got the red
fellow
hat
kids.
and the skateboard.
Yeah, red hat and a skateboard, and he's supposedly an undercover guy at a high school.
Right, yeah.
Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah, it's like, where can I buy drugs or whatever he
Yeah,
says.
yeah. Whatever he's up to.
Yeah.
The one that doesn't get enough love is Strangers with Candy. That thing was pretty hilarious for its day, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem to have its cult status in order or something because you don't see it around. It may have been just a little too vulgar, maybe for that sort of syndicate, syndication popularity. Because they did like to go there, to being vulgar every now and then. What? Hey, what? I felt like I was talking to myself, and here I am with just the solo screen. Scott dropped his camera again. It's 1 hour. If Scott manages to come back, I'll just tell him goodbye. I may end this before he gets back. See if he does get back. He first of all, he's got to notice he's talking to himself. That's funny. I've got my screen mirrored. Got no idea how to move everything. There I am. Wouldn't this just drive you crazy as someone? It's be one of those things where you try to take it from somebody so you can do it yourself instead of watching them do it. I do that. I can barely keep my hands to myself when somebody starts not doing things right. There you are. Hey, I was just about to say we're at an hour, Scott.
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
My phone died. I had to plug it in real quick.
Oh, I'll be doggone. All of a sudden I realized it feels like I'm talking to myself. And I looked up and I was a big old solo screen. There you are.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was even low on power.
Yeah.
So I was like, what happened? I mean,
Yeah,
immediately I knew. Anyway, yeah, we can
stop.
Ellis, if you want to. You are. Yeah, hang on though. Don't hang up after we
Okay.
broadcast.
Scott has got some
I want
stuff he's going to share. Okay, you guys take it easy. Everybody watches this.
Thanks.
And
Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Mario, if you come along, you'll find a dead air.